We see a brutal war raging in 15th century Transylvania, with Prince Vlad Dracula mercilessly eliminating the enemy Turks. Meanwhile, his young and stunning wife, Princess Elisabetta, receives a false message stating that he has died in battle. She takes her own life by leaping from a window and drowning in the Arges River below their residence. Upon returning and learning of his wife's death, Prince Vlad is consumed with rage and blames God for her fate. Consequently, he renounces his faith and vows revenge by stabbing the stone cross belonging to the castle's chapel. Blood begins to seep from the cross, which he consumes, transforming him into a vampire. Fast forward to 1897, we meet Jonathan Harker, who is substituting for his superior, Renfield.
I'm mad. Renfield is deranged.
Jonathan is on his journey to Transylvania to meet the elusive and enigmatic Count Dracula regarding a sale of 10 properties in London that he has acquired. Jonathan spots a pack of wolves howling in unison and notices strange blue flames appearing from nowhere. Upon finally meeting the Count, he is struck by how much the Count resembles the carriage driver, but he dismisses the thought and continues to negotiate their business deal over dinner. During the next few days spent with the Count, Jonathan realizes he should have heeded the villagers' warnings. He meticulously records in his journal the castle's ancient interior and the absence of people. The Count sees a picture of Jonathan's fiancée, Mina Murray, who strikingly resembles Elisabetta.
Be married as soon as I return.
He asks him personal questions about his love life and says that she will undoubtedly make a devoted wife, and he a faithful husband. One night, while shaving with a mirror, Jonathan hears the Count, who warns him not to wander freely around the castle, particularly where the doors are locked, except for his own bedroom, due to the castle's painful memories. After a week of odd events, Jonathan becomes determined to uncover the truth and decides to explore the castle while Dracula is away. He discovers a locked door and breaks in, revealing a vast salon. While searching the room to learn more about its former occupant, he suddenly feels drowsy and falls into a deep slumber on the duvet. Hours later, he awakens to the sounds of feminine laughter and cooing. Before him stand 3 incredibly beautiful, yet terrifying women. Before Jonathan can comprehend the situation, the women begin to seduce him. To his horror, they reveal themselves as vampires. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he is saved by Dracula, who hurls the blonde-haired woman against the wall. After a brief verbal confrontation with the vampires, the Count orders them to leave and offers them a wiggling bag containing a crying baby to feed on. He is told that he must remain in the castle for a little longer than a month and to write letters to his employer, family, and fiancé on specific dates. As Jonathan slowly descends into madness while fighting for survival, Dracula is busy packing boxes of earth to be shipped to England.
Why do they fill these boxes with earth?
On the night Dracula departs, Jonathan is instructed to write one final letter, dating a week later than when he is actually writing. Mina senses that something is amiss. She finds comfort in her friend Lucy, when suddenly a terrible storm erupts out of nowhere. Meanwhile, on the Atlantic Ocean, a ship named the Demeter is en route to England, carrying boxes and cargo from Eastern Europe. They soon experience strange and horrific incidents, including the disappearance and murder of numerous sailors. When the Demeter finally docks in London, a beast-like dog leaps off the ship. We return to Lucy, who is sleepwalking in the terrible storm through the gardens behind her mansion. Sleepwalking is common for Lucy, as she is prone to it. Concerned, Mina follows her through the labyrinth, calling her name until she discovers Lucy being assaulted by the same beast-like dog that escaped the Demeter. The beast sinks its teeth into Lucy's neck, draining her blood, only to be distracted by Mina's presence.
Do not see me.
The creature releases its victim and retreats to hide. When Lucy awakens, she is bewildered by the incident and with assistance returns to bed. The next day, while out in downtown London, Mina encounters a tall, strikingly handsome Eastern European man in a gray suit and top hat who is drawn to her. As he approaches to inquire about the cinema's location, she responds with disgust and rudely tells him to go away. Realizing her mistake, she apologizes and offers to guide him to the cinema. The man, of course, is Dracula, who introduces himself as Prince Vlad from 𝐀𝐻𝐭. Meanwhile, Lucy exhibits signs of being very pale, weak, and gasping for breath. Dr. Jack 𝐀𝐨, already preoccupied with Renfield's peculiarities, promptly comes to Lucy's aid and takes her on as a patient.
Spare no expense.
During their time together at the cinema, Mina confides that she feels a strange familiarity with him. Before Vlad can respond, he grabs Mina and inappropriately pulls her into a secluded area out of sight. Mina struggles to escape, but is powerless against Vlad's overwhelming strength. He reveals that he has crossed the oceans for her, and attempts to bite her neck to claim her as his bride. Suddenly, a white wolf crashes into the cinema. Panic ensues as everyone runs around screaming, trying to escape. The wolf spots Mina and lunges at her, only to be rescued by Vlad, who commands the wolf to stand down and submit. Returning to Lucy's condition, it is deteriorating. Dracula visits her once more, this time in human form, and drinks from her. 𝐀𝐻𝐭 arrives at that moment and realizes the extent of Lucy's plight. Suddenly, she screams. The doctors conduct an emergency blood transfusion, with Lucy's fiancé, Arthur, participating. 𝐻𝐻𝐭 conducts further investigation and notes the bite marks on Lucy's neck,
Something just went up there, sucked it out of her.
preparing to inform the men about the cause of her devastating illness. As the men confront Dr. Van 𝐻𝐿sing, they initially dismiss his claims as madness. One morning, Jonathan gathers the last of his strength and manages to flee the castle. After a long day of running, he finds refuge at a convent called the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. They send a letter to Mina, informing her of Jonathan's safety and his violent brain fever, urging her to come to him as soon as possible to marry. Torn between her feelings for Jonathan and her growing attachment to the Count, Mina seeks guidance from Lucy. Lucy encourages Mina to marry Jonathan before it's too late, giving her engagement ring as a wedding gift.
Don't worry about spoiled little Lucy.
When Mina accidentally knocks over the garlic flowers near Lucy's bed, Lucy enters a fit of rage, startling everyone around her. In her confusion, Lucy calls for Quincy, begging him for comfort and a kiss. Mina boards a ship to Transylvania to marry him. After their wedding, Mina writes to Dracula, ending their relationship. Heartbroken and enraged, Dracula retaliates by killing Lucy. At her funeral, 𝐻𝐿sing reveals that Lucy has not truly died, but has become a vampire, urging the group to destroy her before she rises again. When they visit her grave at night, they discover her coffin is empty. Suddenly, they hear singing accompanied by a crying child, leading them to confront Lucy. The group ultimately frees Lucy from her torment by driving a stake through her heart and beheading her. Meanwhile, Mina and Jonathan return to London to learn of Lucy's death. During dinner with 𝐻𝐿sing, Jonathan realizes that the vampire they seek is Count Dracula. While Mina stays at 𝐀𝐻𝐭's sanitarium for safety, she encounters Renfield, who reveals he knows of her connection to the vampire. Both uneasy yet relieved, they thank him for the information. As Mina prepares to leave, Renfield ominously wishes her well. At Carfax Abbey, the men search for Dracula in his boxes. Suddenly, Mina hears a commotion in the sanitarium, hinting that Renfield is battling someone much stronger. Hiding under her covers, a mist creeps through the window, taking the form of Count Dracula. He reveals he is the one who killed Lucy, devastating Mina yet igniting her romantic feelings for him. In a moment of passion, Mina confesses her desire to be with Dracula, and he sinks his teeth into her neck. He then makes an incision into his chest and gives her the choice to drink from him, in which she does. They are then caught by Jonathan, 𝐻𝐿sing, and the other men. Dracula escapes, leaving Mina horrified and emotionally upset. Once there, they split into teams. Jonathan, Quincy, Arthur, and 𝐀𝐻𝐿 head toward the Borgo Pass on horseback, while Helsing and Mina take a carriage to Varna, aiming to intercept Dracula. As they near the castle, Helsing keeps a close eye on Mina, noticing her shallow breathing and emerging fangs. They decide to camp for the night, but Mina suddenly enters a rage, hearing the telepathic call of the weird sisters, who entice her to join them. Initially resistant, Mina eventually succumbs to their influence, attempting to attack Helsing. The next morning, while Mina sleeps within the safety of the circle, seeking revenge on the sisters by beheading them and discarding their heads into the cliffs below. Meanwhile, a band of gypsies transporting Dracula's earth box rushes to the castle before sunset, with the men close behind. Mina spots Dracula with binoculars and conjures a blue flame to protect him. As the wagon enters the courtyard, a gypsy stabs Quincy in the back. Under the darkening sky, Dracula rises from his box, only to have his throat slit by Jonathan. To further injure him, Quincy stabs him in the heart, but it isn't enough to kill him. With Mina's help, Dracula escapes into the old chapel. In the final scene, Mina sits beside her prince, who, in a demon-like form, is bleeding profusely. As he takes his last breaths, he reverts to his former self, the proud Prince Vlad III.
Give me peace.
She kisses him tenderly and drives a sword through his heart, killing him instantly. Did this story spook you out? Let us know in the comments below. For more horror movie recaps, subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next one. Fear awaits you.